Every Alolan Ninetales lead I see does not have a good answer to Jellicent in the lead. Alright, here's the snipe attempt. Watch how much damage this does. Oh my gosh, look at that. Love to see it. Hey everyone, I hope Ultra League is going well for you all this season. I have a pretty spicy Pokemon that I've been using for Ultra League, so definitely excited to showcase that for you all. I have been playing Premier, and the line I've been using is Jellicent, Shadow Scizor, and Abomasnow. The good news about Shadow Scizor is that pretty much most things that beat it, Jellicent counters, and a lot of things that beat Jellicent, Scizor counters too. So I really like the synergy between the two. Of course, Abomasnow is kind of similar in that regard as well, so it's kind of like an ABB line in many ways. You don't have to use Shadow Scizor, but I like Shadow Mons a lot on the safe swap because you might as well hit pretty hard and go down quick if you don't have switch advantage, and that potentially can also give you the best chance to win switch, especially on a hard-hitting Mon. Jellicent's a little bit pricier of an investment, so I think the best replacement is probably Gengar. The biggest downfall of that is unfortunately Swampert leads become really tough, so that's just something to keep in mind. Before I get into battles, I usually thank my patrons at the end of the videos, but given the amount of support that they give me, I'm going to start thanking them in the beginning of my videos. So a big shout out to them for supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to some of my strategies and lineups, you can also sign up in the link down below. Jellicent, I've run both Hex and Bubble on it, and I think it's really down to personal preference. So some of these battles you will see Bubble running on the Jellicent, and others you'll see Hex. Hex is much better against mainly the dragons and some of the grass as well, whereas Bubble is good in a lot of neutral matchups and against stuff like G-Fisk. The big thing with Bubble that's nice is you have much more play against things like Umbreon, Obstagoon, and Scrafty. Obstagoon and Scrafty are probably the biggest core breakers for this line. Umbreon's not very easy to handle as well, but we'll see some of that in these footages as well. So I usually shield the first Earthquake from Stunfisk. I've never seen a single one of them go Rock Slide off the bat. And then from there, you're in a really good spot, especially with Bubble variant. You can just go straight Bubble Beam after that. Yeah, Scizor, a hard check to Venusaur. You don't have to shield any of those moves. And again, this thing is just putting in work here. Obviously, this is going to be resisted Night Slash, but my opponent still shields because it is that Shadow variant. I am going to shield this. It's going to be a payback, actually, so I'm really glad I did shield. I go for bait here. Probably safe play is just go straight Shadow Ball, but my opponent is going to concede there. All right, against a Swampert lead. So Jellicent is really solid against Swampert, but again, Swampert is very strong in Ultra League, and that Earthquake hurts a lot of things for neutral. So I actually go and try to catch an Earthquake here, and luckily I do. Because Abomasnow is pretty solid against it, and landing that Shadow Ball means that even Scizor has some play. Grabbing this Snorlax here is really good for me, because Snorlax is pretty solid against that Jellicent as well, so getting this out of the way now is definitely a good sign. I'm trying to figure out what they might have in the back at this point, because they kind of got rid of their main Jellicent check. But this Abomasnow putting in work here, also able to finish it off. So now I still have switch alignment here. And then I'm going to shield this Earthquake because I have seen it already. If it was a Sludge Wave, it would be a different story, but I did see the Earthquake earlier. I'm going to go straight for the Bubble Beam for the debuff, and then, yeah, this is not going to be a good time for my opponent. Going straight in with the Shadow Scizor, which is very strong against Charmers. Even if they shield this, no big deal. I can just Bullet Punch down and just throw Night Slashes at the Swampert, and they're going to concede the match right there. Yeah, Charmers are really going to struggle versus this team, so if you're not a big fan of Charmers, definitely a good thing to have. Again, Hex is also really good in against waters. Specifically the non-ground waters, so Swampert's neutral either way with Bubble or Hex, but stuff like Empoleon, Gyarados, Lapras, the Hex does come in handy. Alright, so my opponent does swap out here, and so I am going to bring in the Abomasnow here and try to finish it off. I do double shield here. Unfortunately, I get baited with Aqua Tail, but that's fine. This Abomasnow is going to have a lot of play against the Empoleon that comes back in too, so I'm not too worried. And Abomasnow is just pretty bulky in Ultra League compared to Great League, which I'm really enjoying. Abomasnow, you do have to XL. Mine is just 100% because I don't have the XL candies for anything better. But you can go for higher stat product as well. I think a lot of matchups having the 100% is actually better than having high stat product. I'll double check all the sims on P-Poke. I just didn't myself, just because, like I said, I don't have a better one I could really invest in because I don't have the XL candies. So decided to go with the Hundo. Again, as you saw, the Dragonite really going to struggle against Scizor because you're going to resist all that Dragon Breath. Even though Scizor's fairly glassy, having that resistance is really nice. You'll see most of these battles I am running the Bubble variant, but I do have Hex variant in a few of my battles, and you'll see later. I kind of just went back and forth on it, to be honest. I think towards the end, I did decide that Bubble was a little bit better. I'm going to shield the opponent's close combat right here, so this is really good. Now I could time out my Night Slashes so that I don't get hit by another close combat. They are going to let that move go, which is really solid, and the Lapras is not going to do great against the Scizor, so I decided to just not shield it. End up shielding here. Maybe I got a little greedy, but I was just like, I have all this energy, let's see what I could do with it. Ends up coming in with a Venusaur, so maybe having the shield would have been nice. But I do still have that Abomasnow in the back, and Abomasnow is going to be able to survive a Sludge Bomb very comfortably. They have to throw a double Sludge Bomb here. Potentially a Frenzy Plant might be enough, but they're not going to outpace me. And they're going to concede the match right there. Alright, Jellicent Mirror. Let's see if I'm running. So I'm running Bubble in this variant instead of Hex. It's not as big of a deal in the Mirror because it's not going to be the Hex that takes you out anyway. And I go for a catch right here, hoping to catch. I do catch a Shadow Ball, so that's kind of nice. And I grab a Mana Buzz out. So really good to see the Mana Buzz now, because now I can line up the Abomasnow against it. A Mana Buzz is actually quite strong against this entire line as well, because it has play neutral against Scizor, and then super effective moves against Abomasnow. Abomasnow could throw super effective back with the Weather Balls at least, which is nice. Yeah, you definitely don't want to stay in this matchup too long, so I'm going to shield here. I really need to get rid of this because my Jellicent's not going to appreciate it. And they have a Galvantula too. This is really unfortunate. Galvantula is also very strong against this line. So they have both Galvantula and Mana Buzz, and they have a Mirror Jellicent. So pretty much their backline counters my backline. We just have a Mirror for the lead, which is not great. But I do have the say in here, unfortunately, and I think my opponent underestimated how much energy I had here, which worked out because I was able to finish it off now. Going straight for a Weather Ball. Unfortunately, can't get to it. So I'm just going to farm this down with Bubbles. Bubble is coming in handy here. I know this won't KO me, even if it's Dark Pulse, which it actually is, which does a lot more damage. And then now I go straight for the Shadow Ball, and my opponent concedes. So despite having two hard Pokemons for this line in the back, still got some play. Alright, now this is where it gets tough. Whenever you safe swap Scizor and they have a fire Pokemon, you can't really force shields here. Talonflame, so if you time right, you get to 2 Night Slashes, but I think I might have mistimed the Charizard charge moves there. But fortunately against Charizard, the Dragon Claws are not going to hurt nearly as much as a Brave Bird from Talonflame, so I don't really have to worry about shielding. I'm going to farm up a bunch of energy here. That way I have Shadow Ball to start weakening the Venusaur. They're going to come in Venusaur here, so I'm going to throw this. And they don't know if you have Ice Beam or not, so some will even shield it. But it's a good no-shield by my opponent because they know they survive either way. I come in with Abomasnow, and they have Empoleon here. So Empoleon, kind of a neutralist matchup against Abomasnow. You both, it's going to do super effective with the Drill Pegs, but you're resisting the Waterfalls. And then on the flip side, I do Beta Shield here, which is really nice. And then I swap here to catch Drill Peck here, which is really nice. And then I also get to the Shadow Ball here. So now I can take out the Empoleon. They actually shield again. Interesting. So I am going to go straight for an Energy Ball here to take it out before it can throw a move at me. Now I just need to get a Weather Ball before they vine with me down. Able to finish off still with the shield too. Really tough lead. But again, with the right plays, you can still make it work. They had a Charizard to counter swap my safe swap Scizor, right? So think about that. Hard check in the front, hard check in the counter swap, neutral matchup with them back, right? But if you play your energy right, if you play certain matchups right, obviously that bait with the Weather Ball is crucial. You still have a lot of play. All right, so this is kind of weird. They're shielding my Scizor, not swapping out, even though they had an Umbreon matchup against Jellicent. So I'm really confused what they may have in the back. They bring in a Charmer here. Interesting. I'm going to go straight for an Iron Head, see if I can one-shot this thing. One-shot Cyclofable. Man, this thing's an absolute beast. Now I get the Bombshell locked into the Umbreon. Umbreon, it's not a great matchup, but with as little health as they have, and with the health advantage I have on the Bombshell, I should be fine. Ends up being double Charmer. with Umbreon. So obviously they didn't want to see that Scizor. That's why they stayed in with the Umbreon. But it's a good spot for me to be in. Most Charm Ninetales are only running Psyshock, which is not going to hurt nearly as much as a Dazzling Gleam here. And then I'm going to go straight for probably a Weather Ball here. They were going to throw a Weather Ball here for neutral, but I do survive it. And able to beat out even an Umbreon lead. This is kind of a weird line. Most Umbreon leads won't have double Charms in the back, but this one did. And Charm does not like to see that Scizor for sure. Alright, Galvantula, really tough. And Talonflame Counter Swap, even worse. But like I said, if you time it right, you can get to 2 nice slashes and don't get the Incinerate to go through. So we get a shield there, which is huge. I'm going to no shield this first move. Ends up being a Flame Charge. That's totally fine. This next one's probably going to be a Brave Bird. They go Flame Charge again. Actually, kind of a smart play by my opponent because now they force me to throw energy. If they went Brave Bird, I would just farm them down. Now, I come in here, Abomasnow against the Empoleon. So again, a more neutral matchup here. This is where the ABB line comes in handy because they're running clearly an ABC line, right? With Electric, Fire, Water in the back, right? Which gives me a little bit of play here. Still a really tough matchup for sure. But we're going to do what we can. So I'm going to go straight for the Weather Ball because I don't make it to Energy Ball in time. And then I swap to my Jellicent. I need to start farming this thing down. And then they come in straight away with the Galvantula. Unfortunately, they throw a lunge there. It's a good bait by them. If they go straight discharge, I would have lost there. But because they threw the lunge and I shielded it, unfortunately now I'm going to get taken out with discharge. Had I not shielded the lunge, I would have won that actually, in all likelihood. So even against a Galvantula lead, it came down to a 50-50 scenario. So again, you have play with this line, even despite having a really hard lead loss and a hard counter swap loss with that Talonflame. All right, going against my friend for the battles here. Talonflame lead, I usually swap out if they don't swap out, just because I try sniping down with Scizor, but she actually swapped out ahead of time. I always shield that Dazzling Gleam because it does a decent amount of damage, and then you end up outpacing it to your second Shadow Ball. This is a good spot to be in. I'm just going to tank this move. They might take me out here. That's fine. It's going to be Shadow Ball. I'm probably going to come in with Scizor here. Scizor is actually going to get to that Night Slash before she could get to that Shadow Ball, which is going to be really nice. And she does shield. So I'm going to match shields here. Likely a Shadow Ball it is. And then here comes a Politoed. So this Politoed probably has Earthquake, otherwise she wouldn't bring it in here. It does have Earthquake, so it has some play against this Jellicent. I need to weaken this as much as possible just to give my Scizor as much of energy or health advantage as possible. The Jellicent's low, the Ninetales is weakened, so I need to do what I can there. And able to finish off the Politoed, so that's really huge. The rest of our backline doesn't have too much play. We'll see that Jellicent get taken out, and look at that damage from the bullet punches. Double super effective from a Shadow Scizor against a Ninetales. Not much they could do there. Able to finish it off. But yeah, definitely a fairly positive lead against Alolan Ninetales. I found that most people that run Alolan Ninetales don't have a hard check to Jellicent in the back, or at least not too hard check, so they all have to stay in usually. Alright, Altaria, definitely not the best matchup, especially when you're not running Ice Beam. It's even worse if you're running Bubble. So I'm going to really try to switch here, or at least wear down shields, because Gengar is kind of a problem for my team. It's actually pretty strong against Abomasnow as well. If it has Sludge Bomb, it makes it quite valuable. And then they come in Empoleon here. This is huge. So now I just lock in the Jellicent with it, and they don't shield. This gives my Jellicent a lot more play against this Empoleon. I could probably just go straight Shadow Ball at this point. It's going to KO. And they're going for double Drill Pegs. That's fine. I just need to wear down this Empoleon as much as possible. Did they swap in there? Yeah, they swap in. So really good swap by my opponent. But able to finish off with the Abomasnow here. Doesn't really make too much sense for them to shield this, because I'm just going to get to my moves very quickly. Going to just bait with the Weather Ball. It's a pretty obvious bait because I didn't build up to the Entry Ball, but they pretty much have to shield. So they don't shield, it's fine. I'm just going to Powder Snow or Bubble it down. I just throw a move right here. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, and they're going to just concede right there. Alright, going against a Goodra lead. Goodra, not the greatest. Again, it's kind of like the Altaria matchup. And again, a Talonflame counter swap. Let's see if we get those double Night Slashes off, and we do, right? So if you time it right, obviously my Shadow Source is a little bit on the higher rank side, but you should be able to get to that second Night Slash in most scenarios, unless you have a really bad spread. Alright, gonna go straight bubble down this thing. I don't know why they didn't throw Brave Bird there. A little confused about that, but that's fine. They actually come in with G-Fist. This actually gives me a good win con, because my Jellicent definitely wants to see the G-Fist here, and my Bomb Snow definitely wants to see the Goodra in the back. I'm gonna go straight for the Bubble Beam here to debuff it. And they don't shield, surprisingly. That's fine. I'm gonna go for another Bubble Beam. Now the Earthquake's gonna do like nothing. They might swap out though. No, they don't swap out. Interesting. So now I'm just going to bubble it down. And they come in Goodra here. Even with shield advantage, this is a very obvious muddy water, so I'm not going to shield it. I would recommend, they do get the attack drop, which is nice. Maybe that's why they threw right away. Yeah, that's probably why they threw right away. Makes sense, because they don't have Draco Meter anyway, and they're running Power Whip and Muddy Water. It doesn't make sense to bait it when I only have one shield anyway, because if, you know, they grab my shield, they still can't KO me with any of their moves, right? So now they're going to throw another Muddy Water. That's fine. They come in G-Fisk. There's probably going to be another Muddy Water. I do survive it and able to finish off the Goodra. Alright, Fighters. Definitely solid to see. Obviously, it is running Payback. It's a different story, but most are not. They swap in their G-Fisk here. Really interesting. So I'm going to probably tank this move first. I do shield. Interesting. Okay, I guess I go and try to catch an Earthquake here. Oh, yes, I do catch an Earthquake. That's huge. But now I have a good spot because my Jellicent still has energy, and I can still take out the Machamp later down the road. I don't mind taking this move because the Machamp just gets less farm. They actually switch lock their Machamp in. Very interesting. So I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball here. No reason not to, really. Unlikely they shield because it's such a bad matchup for them. They are going to go straight Rock Slide, and I could just bubble this guy down, have a bunch of energy saved up. Galvantula. Okay, this is not great. Do grab the shield, though. That's huge. And then I am going to go straight for the Night Slash. Galvantula, again, pretty strong against this entire line. I'm going to not shield. Let's hope this is a lunge. It is a lunge. So able to resist that lunge damage, which is really nice. And I'm going to just let this move go as well. It's going to be another lunge. I do get the Night Slash off. I think my opponent probably should have just gone Discharge at that point. Yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit tough. So they go straight Discharge there, and then they come in G-Fist hoping to catch a move, but I was anticipating that they were going to swap there, which I didn't throw. If they just stayed in and threw another Volt Switch, I would have lost there too, but I think, you know, we're playing a little mind games with each other right there. Alright, Toxicroak lead, very solid for this line. So going to straight and throw the Shadow Ball here. My opponent's taking a while to throw their move, which makes me think that they're not likely running Fire Punch. I'm going to shield this regardless. If it's a Shadow Ball, that's going to be good. Focus Blast, even worse. So it is going to be Focus Blast. So now I know that they're not running Fire Punch in all likelihood. I'm just going to tank this move. It ends up being Thunder Punch, totally fine. That's why I felt very comfortable just trying to Bullet Punch it down, because I wasn't too worried about a potential Fire Punch. Seemed unlikely they would have it. I'm not going to shield any of these moves. These Mud Bombs are going to do very little damage, and counters are super resisted. Just going to farm this all the way down and have energy for this Hypno. I'm just going to throw the Bubble Beam right away. I know it has Thunder Punch. Able to get another bubble worth of energy. And then they come in Slowbro here. Yeah, not going to be a great time for my opponent here. I'm going to wait for them to throw their move here. Actually go for the Bubble Beam, but they're going to throw the move right away, and that's fine. I just go straight for that Power Whip, or Energy Ball. Actually, no, I could just go double Weather Ball here. Actually, yeah, this makes more sense. They're low enough. They actually survived it barely, but I still have a shield. Not going to be a big deal. I should be able to survive that move either way. And yeah. Alright, Gengar lead really rough. Again, like I said, Gengar's actually pretty strong against this team. They actually come in Obstagoon. Obstagoon, again, a really tough core breaker. They luckily do not shield. I need to shield this just because I really need to get rid of this Obstagoon no matter what. I double shield. I guess I farm down after this. Yeah, makes sense. I'm going to go and throw Night Slash just to really just chip this down. I swap out, so I save a Night Slash, so I still have the Night Slash ready for the Gengar later. I figured that swapping to a Abomasnow here is not the worst case scenario. They do go for the Focus Blast, so they one-shot me. I figured it was Focus Blast or Sludge Bomb, so I was going to lose health there anyway. But now I'm going to try to grab the shield from the Gengar. Do grab the shield there. They farm me down, but now I know they probably have Shadow Punch. So it's not the end of the road right here. Focus Blast wouldn't do enough. Would be resisted, and unless we're running double nukes, I should be able to survive that. I'm running Hex in this variant, so I have some play against this against this Kingdra. I know they're just at Octazooka here, so I have to throw the Bubble Beam, unfortunately. I know it's not enough to KO, But as you can see there, I would have just got the Shadow Ball, but not had enough to throw it. And unfortunately, that one turn fast move is just going to take me out before I get Hexer. So super close matchup, even against a Gengar lead and Obstagoon Core as well. I will say that you don't have to use a Shadow Scizor to make this line work well. I think a G-Fist is also a very solid replacement for this line. If you're running G-Fist instead of Shadow Scizor, you'll be very, very weak to Grass leads, so just something to keep in mind. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll see you all next time.